Okay, in the last video we've discussed about Python's conditional statements, which I said they are the magical spells that let you make decisions in your code. They give you the power to make decisions and decide, what's going to happen to your code, how it's going to be executed, in what order, in what manner. Right. So in this video, we're going to see a way to enhance those magical spells even further, work with them even better, and make your code even more uh, clean and more readable, more on track. Okay, we're going to talk about logical operators in this video. Logical operators are just tools to enhance the behavior and flexibility of your Python conditional statements. Okay, they help you combine conditional statements for a better logic in more complex scenarios. For example, let's say you are an employee and you want to employ people. Okay, you want to employ people based on two criteria. Let's say you want to employ people that are based in Lagos or they are willing to move to Lagos. Okay, in a normal way you would just do something like, if you're going to do it with just if else statements, you're going to have to write something like, say, Lagos based is a variable. Okay, and then we need to define this variable here. Say if Lagos based, so Lagos based equals true because the person is now in Lagos. For example, this employee is from Lagos. So if Lagos based, you print you got the job. Else, okay, now we need a second variable that says willing to move equals true. For example, we do a elif here and say elif willing to move, print. Okay, this is how you would do it without conditional statements. You define two variables. Lagos based, the person is in Lagos, okay, and he's willing to move. For example, he is in Lagos, so he doesn't even need to move. But the second option is the part if the person is not from Lagos. Okay, so this is kind of just optional for Lagos people. So if the person is from Lagos, sorry, he will just the this print statement, the first one will just be executed, and the the thing just ends here. But if he is not from Lagos and he is willing to move, then yeah, this print statement will execute. Else, the else part here will do its job. This is how to do it without logical operators. I'm gonna navigate into the folder and just kind of run this program. Um, okay, Python app.py. It says you got the job. Okay, I misspelled this. You got the job. Okay, how about I remove this and say false. I'm not from Lagos here, but I'm willing to move because willing to move says true here. Okay, it says you will accommodate yourself, but you got the job. That's the second thing here. But what if I make this false too? Say I'm not willing to move and I'm not from Lagos, so it will say sorry, only for Lagos people. The job is only for Lagos people. So this is kind of how to do it without conditional statements. What if we can do this with less code and just make things right for yourself? Okay, this can be achieved by you leveraging Python's or logical operator. So you can just come here and say or willing to move, and then you can just remove this here. Okay, and even here you can actually kind of remove the print statement here and then say okay, you got the job, and then you just change the English. Okay, as easy as that. if the person is from Lagos or is willing to move, okay, then this print statement will execute. But else, it will say only for Lagos people. Okay, I will run this program again. We will see. Sorry, only for Lagos people. But what if I change this one to true? I'm willing to move to Lagos. Then I this condition is now true, and then it will say you got the job. You will accommodate yourself if you are not Lagos based. Okay, and now I can just do this too. I'm testing this out. Okay, say false, and then here it says you got the job. You will accommodate yourself. Blah 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 blah. So either of these conditions, if it is true, then you will see this print statement. Okay, this or statement is kind of the magical one here, is what lets us use this thing and make us write better and cleaner code. This is the or logical operator. So now, since you got the bigger picture, let's explain one by one. So first, we have the and logical operator, and then second we have the or, and then lastly we have the not. Now obviously you've already seen or and how it's used, so I'm gonna just explain and not. When you see and here, if you write and here instead of or, then the condition is now stick to true. I mean, like, both of the conditions has to be true for these for this first statement to be printed. I'm going to show you an example. Okay, now one of the statements is false, so we're going to see the second line. Even though the person is willing to move to Lagos, but he is not based in Lagos, the and operator does not care. It will just say, hey, sorry, only for Lagos people. You're not from Lagos. Get out of here. Okay, so that is and operator, and we have the not operator, which is kind of, I don't know if I can use it in this context. I'm gonna just write another example. Let's go inside here, create another instance of this. Okay, and then let's go into Python interpreter here. Okay, let's clear the place. Good. Okay, come down a little bit. If we say that we have a equals true, okay, and then we have b, and we assign it to false. Now what not is, we're gonna work with not logical operator. Okay, not logical operator, whatever. Okay, this keyword, this not keyword, okay, is what we're gonna explain now. So if I say not a here, it's gonna tell me that not a is false because it's a negation. Not says that, yeah, not this one. Okay, the opposite always returns the opposite of what is given to it. So if you give it true, it will return false. If you give it false, it will return true. So now a is true, not a will be false. Now b is false, and then not b will be what? Will be true. So that is how it kind of works. Let's do a little recap, okay? The AND operator returns true only if both the conditions are met. If only both the conditions are true, then the AND logical operator returns true. In other words, if either of the conditions is false, then the AND logical operator is going to return false. It wants perfection. Everyone has to be true for the AND logical operator to return true. But if one of the conditions returns false, then all the others will not be considered by the AND logical operator. It's going to say now we have false. and then all of you has to have to be false. Okay, it only returns true if both the conditions are met. Okay, so if we have a equals 10 and we have b, and then we assign it to, let's say, 15, I don't know, and then we have c, and then we assign it to, let's say, 20. So if we come here and say a is greater than b, we're gonna see that we have false. B is less than what? Less than C. We see we have true. But if I say A is greater than B, we know this is false, right? And B is less than C. This is true. A is greater than B, of course, because A is 10. Sorry, A is greater than B is false because, yeah, A is 10 and B is 15, and obviously 15 is bigger than, 10. Okay, but C is greater than B, which means 20 is greater than 15. So this last statement, this last expression is true. So we have true and false here. So this complete statement or expression is going to return false because we have one false in here, and operator only returns true if the both the conditions are met, are true. I keep repeating this. I'm not going to repeat it anymore. Okay, we have false. Now if I do a is less than b and b is less than c, both the conditions are now true, we will see true. So this is the AND logical operator. So now let's do the OR. When it comes to OR, it's kind of different. We can define them just like we did before, but if we say A is greater than B, or and then we say or B is less than C, we're going to see true because, I mean, one of the statements is true. So it returns true if at least one of the statements returns true. Then or does not care about the false guys. It will just return false. I mean true. This is the or logical operator. And it only returns false if both the conditions are false. So if I say B is greater than C, which is kind of false, and A is greater than B, which is also false, so it will return false. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move to the third one, which is the not operator, and which is our last one here. Okay, say we have a condition that says A is greater than B or B is less than C. We obviously know that A is, let's bring up the last things that we can be seeing. Okay, so we know that A is 10 and 10 is not greater than 15. So this statement is false, and we have a logical OR operator here. So B is greater than C, which is also false. So this whole statement is going to return false. But what if we add not here? This not that we add here is going to, negate the return value of whatever the return value of this statement here is. So if it's true, it's going to negate it to false. If it's false, it's going to negate it to true. And right now it's going to return false because both the conditions are false and it's or logical operator. So not will now return true because obviously not false is true. So I hope you're not getting confused. Okay, let's do some example. Okay, I have paused the video and wrote this just to make you understand a little bit better, to make you understand how to work with these logical operators and conditional statements. So here I have like a basic and very simple user login system. This user login system is has everything it needs in this very file. Okay, it doesn't need to fetch any data from any database. It's just basic one for you know for just practice purpose. So I have this email which represents user email that is stored in a database. So we have these two variables like email and password that are kind of our database. These variables are now our database. They represent our database. And now this email, because Python is case sensitive, so this email and this email that I typed are different because they have different cases, right? So this email represents what user is going to type. So you're going to see user is going to type his email in here, and this password is what is representing what user is going to type in here. So if a user types in his password here, the Python interpreter will just store this inside. It will store it inside this password. So this already has values, okay, and this also already has values, but this email is expecting a value that is going to be passed in by the user, and then it will store it inside this email. Okay, and this one also password is waiting for the user to type in some password, and then it will save it inside this password variable. So that is what is going on here. And below that, we are checking that if the email that the user typed in here, if the email is equivalent to this email that we have here, okay, and also the email contains this at symbol inside it. This is a way to check if something exists in in a string or in a list or in a something like that. You just type the thing and then an in keyword and then what you want it to check inside. The in keyword will check this email that we have typed here. If it has this at inside it, then this statement will return true. So we're checking that if the email here we typed is equivalent to this email, and also it has at symbol inside it. If these, because we are using and logical operator here, both of these statements have to be true. Now, if both of these are true, then inside of here we indent, right? We indent and we do another check. We then check if not password is equals to password. Okay, this is kind of confusing, but bear with me. It's very easy, really. We're saying that if the password that we typed in here is not this password, that's all what we're saying here. If the password we typed in here is not this password here, okay, or the password we type is an empty string, so we're checking this. This is a comparison operator. If you didn't know, this is a comparison operator. It's not it's kind of equality check thing. It will check if the thing you're checking is equivalent to the other thing you're checking, you know. So we are using an or logical operator here, which means either of these statements, if it is true, then we're going to print your password is incorrect, because the password cannot be empty, and also it has to be equivalent to this 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and then in the inner nested if statement we have the else part of it. In the else part, that means if this user password is not empty and also is not incorrect, which means it is correct, it is the same thing the user type in here, then we're going to tell the user you're successfully logged in, because yeah, you have the correct password and the password you type is not empty. Okay, so that's what we're saying here. We're just checking the password here. But about this, the outer if statement, we're checking that if the email is correct, is equivalent to this email here that is in our database, and also there is at inside it, that means it's a correct email, then this stage is passed, right? But else, which you can see, this if statement is aligned, is now is in this on the same level with this else statement. So this is the else statement for the email checkout. Then this will if the email is not correct, or it's not the correct one on in our database, it will print this, please type in your correct email. That is all that is going on here, and I hope it makes sense to you. It kind of, it's kind of a bit confusing at first, but once you get it, it's really easier than you can ever imagine. It's very easy, really. If you don't understand, just watch the video again. I'm sure you will get better at this kind of things. You don't even have to understand this specific example. You can keep on practicing and understanding things bit by bit. And one day when you just watch this video, you're gonna think that, hey, it's very easy. This is really easy. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next